Here we are. Tuesday. Break on through. With me, your host, Jeffrey K. Clayton, the long-haired weirdo, the unimpeachable president for life. You can't impeach me. Man, I got a lot of stuff to talk about today. I'm going to try to actually kind of get through the first part quickly because I really want to spend a lot of time on the main subject at hand, which is some stories about me and the Whiskey Rebel, Phil Irwin of the infamous Rancid Vat, and the world-renowned Alcoholics Unanimous. So, real quick, we went to the studio this weekend and accomplished quite a bit. I think we're 3 songs short of having Great Disasters completely finished. And that's my part, vocals. So, the holdup will be me. Oh, and then there's the whole mix down and all that kind of stuff. But it's coming along. Sherry Strong, yeah, you're a new viewer in here. Or maybe not a new viewer, but you're new in coming inside. Welcome. Aaron Wimberly. I think I've seen you here before, Aaron. Right? I mean, you got to tell me something. I had an incredible mail day. And you know what? I left my top 10 over there. So I'm going to go run over there and get it. We'll get through the top 10 and then we'll get to the heart of the matter. Okay, here is. Today's top 10 is Jeffrey K. Clayton's top 10 songs by Thin Lizzy. Oh yeah. And at the advice of my dear close personal friend Dennis Highland, my main mang, I'm going to start with number 10. That was a great idea. Why didn't I come up with that? Probably because I was thinking about something else. As in all my top 10s, number 1 is pretty much the one in order. That's like, that's probably going to be the answer every time. But 10 through 2, they can switch around. There's no particular order. And you're right, Tom. It is hard just to narrow down 10, but I think I've done it. There's a lot of cross outs and mark because, you know, I'm just going to stop explaining. I'm going to go. Number 10. Opium Trail off the Bad Reputation album. I would have to say Bad Reputation is my favorite Thin Lizzy album. Like, start to finish. It's my favorite. Number 9. Philomena off Nightlife. Sometimes known as Thin Lizzy Lounge album, but I love that album. You know what? If it hadn't have been Philomena, it would have been She Knows. So, yeah, I like the song that Phil wrote about his mom, Philomena. Got coffee today. Number 8. And if I was to make a top 5, this would be in it. And this is also off the Bad Reputation album, Southbound. I think that is a beautiful song. And speaking of Thin Lizzy's beautiful songs, number 7 is also off Bad Reputation. It's called This Is the Story of a Downtown Sundown. Oh yeah, Downtown Sundown. I love that song. I loved it the first time I heard it. Man, I like when they played the soft, I mean, they proved time and time again they can rock the fucking roof off of anything. But, yeah. Number 6, and this is the one probably is in everybody's, at least top 20. It's the most logical. It is the Folsom Prison Blues to Johnny Cash, which is, this song to them is The Boys Are Back in Town. Well, everybody, man, that's on the radio. Yeah. Man, how a song that incredible made it to, I don't know, top 100 in America is, I don't know. Maybe that's not a not accurate thing, but how did a song that good make? I mean, it's not like, oh, well, you get the candy-coated thing for the public, and then their really good tracks are hidden. No, that song is incredible, top to bottom. Number 5 from the Renegade album, No One Told Him. No one told him you didn't want to see him again. You didn't tell him you didn't want to see him again. Number 4, from the Chinatown album. That album and Renegade gets slammed a lot by the music press. I never give a shit what the music press said about anything. I love both of those albums. And to me, my number 4 pick, We Will Be Strong, is one of the most inspiring songs ever. I love it. Man, if you're ever feeling down and you need something to give you that boost, put that on. Oh, yeah. And you know what? I am going to make an adjustment right now. I'm going to move what I got here on number 2 to number 3. This is from the Black Rose album. Toughest Street in Town. That's tough stuff. And I'm going to tell you, I'll go ahead and tell you this. The battle for number 1 would have been between these 2 songs. These are my top 2 favorite Thin Lizzy songs of all time. Can you dig it? I'm going to go ahead and put in the number 2 slot, Freedom Song. I don't think that song could even have as much meaning when it was written and in the time period it was written about than it does right now. Jackie hung his head back. Long live liberty. I believe in the Freedom Song. Doesn't matter what you do to me. Jeff Clayton, the long-haired weirdo, the unimpeachable president for life's number 1 Thin Lizzy tune from the Jailbreak album, Angel from the Coast. Oh yeah, I've said it time and time again. I don't think I've ever heard a better use of 2 guitars in my life. I love it. Tom Martin says he figured Sarah... Man, Tom, it is funny you even say that because recently I acquired one of the English 7 inches of Sarah with God, what was on the B-side? I mean, I think it was Got to Give It Up. I'm not sure. Or Do Anything You Want to Do. And they put out a cover with each member of the band on it. And I got the one. I mean, let me turn this around, see if I can show y'all. Oh, man, y'all ain't going to be able to see that. Nah. I'll have to do that some other time. But I got the one with Scott Gorham, and I got it right here in front of my 7-inch store right here. All right, well, that's the top 10. Yeah, oh, yeah. Not now. We got some. Let me do a few ads here. Let me. On the Mark shirts. That's all you got. That's all you got to hear. On the Mark shirts. Wrestling, t-shirts, patches, stickers, hats. And in lockstep with today's top 10, they even ventured out into music. They have a Thin Lizzy hat. So if you want to make your top 10, you think, well, man, goddamn, to make a Thin Lizzy top 10, I probably need to have a Thin Lizzy hat. Well, On the Mark shirts is where to get one. That's what you do. Tomorrow night on Malcolm Tent's Facebook page, Tent Talks Tunes. I don't know what he's going to talk about, but it's good. It's going to have to do with tunes. I can tell you that right now. And it is going to be good. It's going to be informative. And because it's Malcolm Tent doing it, it's going to be entertaining. I could listen to the guy read a map. Every morning, the morning report comes to you live from KD After Dark. Also known as the Dean of Sods. Adam Wolf on here. When you see that name pop up that you're looking at the Dean of Sods. There he is right there. That's the Dean of Sods right there. He was in the studio with us Saturday, recorded some background vocals, some of those wonderful intros that you've all come to know and love as part of ANTiSEEN full-length LPs. Well. And as a surprise, we even got some spoken word from Janus Blythe on there. Oh, yeah. It's going to be an incredible album, man. We've been working really hard on this. I know everyone says that about their next album. I understand that. And I know some of you going, oh, yeah, it's going to be the greatest album they ever did. It very well may be. I don't know. It's been a long time since there has been a chemistry like we have now. And speaking of Janus, you can go to her store, get autographed photos, stickers from The Hills Have Eyes, Incredible Melting Man, Phantom of the Paradise. Get them autographed directly to you. Like Brad Mullins, if you write, hey Janus, write this, give me a picture of Incredible Melting Man where you're about to chop that arm off with a meat cleaver and sign it, Dear Brad. This didn't even cost you an arm and a leg. Something like that. And that's the way she'll do it for you. That's how you do it. What else we got going on here? All right. Mark Deal, are you here? Because I might need to ask you a question. I haven't seen Mark. Well, if he shows up, he'll pop in and tell me. There's Mark. This is my pal, the Whiskey Rebel. He's heard every Break On Through broadcast we've done in the Break On Through studios. He's here all the time. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to get too much into the Rancid Vat / Alcoholics Unanimous history. I'm going to concentrate on my interaction and relationship with the Whiskey Rebel. And so I'm just going to have to assume that most of you who even know anything about Phil Irwin knows about the history of his bands. We met in person for the first time ever in Newark, New Jersey, outside of a club called the Pipeline, sometime in the 80s. I cannot remember the exact date. 88, 89, maybe 90. I don't remember. We were playing the Pipeline. We were opening for the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. Now, we didn't know who they were at the time. They didn't know who the hell we were either, I'm sure. Other than meeting the Whiskey Rebel, the main thing I remember from that show is I got a scar across here when I was doing my Iggy Allen bit, and I got a scar that's still there to this very day. And it was, man, I just rolled up tissue paper, slapped neosporin all over it, tissue paper on, and duct tape like that, and then put a shirt on. Man, I'm all right. Let's go. We gotta go. But yep, we met. He sat in our. We had one of those half buses back then. He sat in there, and we just we've been talking on the phone for a long time. Matter of fact, I was friends with Phil for a good bit of time before we met, you know, the guys in Hell Stomper and Cock Noose and all that. So I was always making reports back to him. Man, we saw this fantastic band in Lawrence, Kansas called Cock Noose, man. It's like, you know, this is the kind of people we want to associate with. And that's how the Confederacy of Scum kind of happened, even though just the Confederacy of Scum idea was Justin's from the very beginning. But that was on another episode, and that's to be discussed later, if you want to hear me discuss it. But so when we made one of our treks out there to the West Coast, now I'm thinking this must have been 92. Man, that tour was something else. That tour shaped how this band would become, and many of our associations were forged on this tour. We hung out with Pig Champion at Phil's house, by the way. We stayed with the Irwins. We played with Rancid Vat on the West Coast. It was during the Rodney King riot. You know, the LA riots. It wasn't a Rodney King riot. It caused because of the Rodney King incident, the verdict in the Rodney King incident. We were right smack dab in the middle of that. And it is also the tour where I met for the very first time and in person the Cosmic Commander of Wrestling. And, you know, that meeting, there's all kind of intertwining going on there. Cosmo eventually became the lead singer of Rancid Vat. But also on that trip, and I'm going to tell you, in my 40 years of almost, in my 39 years or so of playing in ANTiSEEN, and that's not counting the years I played music before, but I'm just keeping it to the ANTiSEEN years, okay? I ain't gonna lie to you, I've had, in addition to a lot of the things we've done and been able to do, I've had a lot of other feathers in my hat. And I have 2 of those right here. And these were direct teamings with the Whiskey Rebel. This one, the first one I'm going to show you was, we came up with the idea of this project while walking along the beach at night at Myrtle Beach. Staying in a hotel and drinking a lot. We had a hotel envelope and wrote down our commitment to this project. Matter of fact, one day, I've still got that envelope in my possession. And one day I will scan it and show it to everybody. See, that's what I'm going to do for the next little while when I find these artifacts. I'm going to just scan them and put them out there for everyone to see, man. Because who knows what will happen to them when I kick the bucket. But here it is. I was a guest lead vocalist on Alcoholics Unanimous Dixie Fried EP. That's me right there. There's the Whiskey Rebel. And there's his wife, Marla V, whom we are still great friends with to this very day. This photo was taken on the steps at my house in Charlotte, which was also known as the Morbid Angel House and the Buzz Oven House. Then it became the ANTiSEEN House. Then it became the place where G.G. Allin made his last recording. Now it's like $1 million piece of property that none of them people could afford. I don't know, maybe Morbid Angel could. But I'm really proud of this. And we did a bunch of covers. The Wino by Porter Wagner. White Lightning, by the Big Bopper, made popular by George Jones. Drinking Spodioti, Drinking Wine. A song called Drinking Wine. And, of course, Dixie Fried. Phil and I had, this is the day before computers. And we would get mutually obsessed with something and, both be trying to track down clues or artifacts of whatever it is we were being, obsessed with. And one of those obsessions was from a story I read in a book called Rock Bottom, Strange Tales from Rock and Roll, something like that. I think it was an English book. But there was a story in there about a band called Simon Stokes and the Black Whip Thrill Band. Well, Phil came up with the idea of, there's Miss Clayton. Hi, Miss Clayton. Thank you for joining. But Phil was like, man, we got to find this guy. We got to find out if this guy's still alive. And, we went through many avenues we called Cub Coda from Brownsville State. All these guys that knew a lot about records. And then, of course, he called, who was a personal friend to both of us. And all of you out there know who it is. Jello Biafra, the Dead Kennedys. And many other bands since then. But we found out that one of the last things at that time that Simon Stokes had done was make the soundtrack to Poltergeist 3. Oh, yeah. I bet y'all didn't know he did that kind of stuff, did you? Well, we said, you know what? We can't wait to find out if this guy's still alive or whatever. No one knows about these records. No one knew about them. I think that it was Phil Irwin and myself that gave this underground group of people, like it gave Simon Stokes to push into their consciousness. Just like I feel that ANTiSEEN did that with Rocky Harrison. You know, people might say, all he wants ever do about whatever. But we recorded an album of Simon Stokes songs called Conqueror Worm, named after the Vincent Price movie, which is also known as Witchfinder General. This is the latest edition of that. Another one of those feathers in the cap I was telling you about. I am so proud of this record. And the original CD version had a Merle Haggard song. We had a version of Mama Tried on it, but this one we decided just to keep the Simon Stokes songs on it, and it's still 11 songs if you count, well, 10 songs plus an intro. But yeah, there we are. That picture was taken outside my house in Charlotte, North Carolina, the town I'm in right now. Other side of town, and I'll tell you guys something that Phil and I used to do. We used to look forward to this every year, man. We were not only record collectors, we were record sellers. We would go to the WFMU, is that the New York radio station? There's a New York radio station that had a record fair every year. We'd go to that. And our favorite trip was to go down to Austin, Texas for the South by Southwest record show. When the South by Southwest music festival would be in Austin, there would also be a record show convention in one of their it was a pretty big place, man. It was like a civic center or something. We went there quite a few times. We really loved that trip, that driving all the way down to Austin. We always made a stop in Mississippi to visit the Wheats, Walt and Heather Wheat in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And well, this time was no exception, except this time we happened to land down there when Before I Hang was going to be doing a show. And just to have an excuse, I guess, to set up some of our t-shirts and shit to sell on the way to the South by Southeast record show, Phil and I decided, hey man, let's do a show together, just you and me, Jeff Clayton and the Whiskey Rebel. Well, of course, we talked about it all the way down there. And then when we got to the Wheats compound, this is one of the earlier versions of the compound, we practiced right there, man, and we did, it was a wild array of stuff, man. I to be honest with you, I can't remember everything we did, but we did do Lordy Miss Claudie by Elvis. We did Something in the Air by Thunderclap Newman. And I'm thinking we did maybe 5 or 6 songs. Just him playing guitar, me singing. Maybe I played some scrub board or something. It wasn't as easy as it is now to get something on film. Yeah, not film, but to video, to film something. On your phone. We didn't have that capability back then. You had to get a guy with a camcorder or something like that. And I don't remember if it was really good or not. Any of you people from Hattiesburg, you remember it? Is Heather or Walt on here? I don't remember whether it was very good or not. I remember Before I Hang being really good, and it was at a place I really loved playing called Tal's Music Emporium, which was an old pool room. We had some wild times there, and but that's the only show we ever did, just me and Phil. And I also did a show where I fronted Alcoholics Unanimous in Philadelphia at a place called the Boot and Saddle. The Boot and Saddle. Man, that was a wild show. We do have that on cassette tape somewhere. I have a feeling Marla probably has it. Marla, if you hear this, I don't know, maybe one day we should do something with that recording. You know, I have a record cover that I started. And I started drawing the first time we ever discussed the possibility of doing this. But now I think we have a lot better connections and a lot better know-how and a lot better network, and maybe we can put this out. Maybe that's something that will be on Long-Haired Weirdo Records. What do you think? Alcoholics Unanimous live at the Boot and Saddle. You know, when Phil Irwin was in Portland, it seems like we talked. I know we talked once a week. You know, there's back in the days of long distance, you had to wait until after 9 o'clock your time to talk to someone. But you know, when the long distance rates went down, some of you people listening today, you don't know what long distance rates are. Man, I'm telling you, that was one of the biggest expenses of touring back then was the damn long distance phone bill you got at the end of it. From having to call, you know, places when somebody was there in the office to book. Yeah. But, man, we would talk for hours and hours and hours. And it just seemed like when they moved to Philadelphia, of course, I got to see them more. Because Philadelphia is a 9-hour drive. Man, I could do a 9-hour drive standing on my head. Can you dig it? 9-hour drive don't mean nothing to me. Got them 15 and 18s. Oh yeah, that means something to me there. But yeah, I got to see him like tons of times that we shared the stage in Philadelphia. Man, me and Phil went to ECW cards at the ECW arena. I'm trying to think of all the stuff we accomplished while they were here. They came down here quite a bit. Played in the Carolinas, and by the time they moved to Texas, though, is when I felt like we kind of we kind of grew apart. Not that, you know, we weren't friends anymore. Just, you know, I guess we went back to being, you know, in a different time zone, and you think as you get older, your life will get less busy, but I've found that to not be the case. Me and Miss Clayton talk about this quite a bit. It seems we're busier now than we've ever been in our entire lives. But that was happening. Life was just happening, you know, and But every time we went to Texas or they came up here, you know, it was like no time had passed at all. And I'm going to tell you, one of the things that I am really thankful for is that one of the last times we saw Phil, we had no way of knowing it would be the last time. But man, he was in such good spirits and as happy as he could be. We played that night at the Limelight, and he was out there. I guess Rancid Vat would have played with us, but we went back to the Irwin compound, and when I got the call from Marla that things were not going well for him, she told me, and this really meant a lot. Oh, Mark, yeah, that show was with the Meat Men when we were there, right? But Marla told me that was one of the last times she saw Phil in that high spirits, and I don't know. I mean, I feel bad for the fact that he didn't find a lot of happiness toward the end of his life, but it really felt good to know that we were part of one of the last days that he was really, really happy and animated and everything, and I guess, Phil was always a hard drinker, and I guess it just got caught up with him. Now, I don't mean to sit there and paint a picture of what his last time. I'm just going by what a discussion that Marla and I had after Phil had passed, and that's the impression that I got, because that's what she told me. And if I'm getting anything wrong, Mark, Marla, anyone, feel free to set me straight. But it was really good to see him in that way, man. That was like classic Phil Irwin. Yeah, he was still drinking and everything, but man, Phil was to a large degree was a functioning alcoholic. He was I'm not going to go too much into his personal business. Mark says his last birthday celebration was a great time. That's good. That's great. What was that after that Meat Men show, Mark? I mean, you got to tell me something. But I don't know. And some of you may find this hard to believe, but I told Marla this. She found it hard to believe. But I said, I think Phil's death hit me harder than Jeff and Joe's. Maybe because I was there watching Jeff and Joe's decline. I don't know. Maybe it was just like one of the things where you go, well, this is just a matter of time, for this catches up with them. And I wasn't around Phil as much. Maybe only a time or two a year or every other year or something. He came up to our 30th anniversary with the Meat Men and the Hookers. But I'll put it to you this way, man. I got turned on to an awful lot of music from the Whiskey Rebel. He had great taste, and especially some of the old obscure stuff. And there's Elvis Irwin, his son. I failed to mention that, part of our traveling party on these things going down to Austin was Elvis. Elvis would be there. Now, we had a blast. We always had a really good time. Even when we were getting pissed off about something, we still had a great time. Elvis, were you there when Phil and I played that show? Okay. Well, I know we're on a delay, and you'll probably answer by the time I sign off. But here's the deal. I love the guy. I considered him to be one of my best friends ever. Oh, yeah. Tom O'Keefe just reminded me. Man, he was a state champion chess player. And another thing they didn't even talk about, because, all I experienced with this was the end result. He was also an author. Man, he's got great books. You can still get these books from the Brilliancy Prize website. Marla still runs the mail order. Job Jumper. Good gosh, man, there's so many. There's like 5 or 6 now. I don't even remember all the titles, but great stuff. He's got one that's a great reference book. If you're looking for country records, that it's not the stuff that everybody knows. He's got a book that's a great reference for looking up old obscure country record. I think this is like his top. I don't know how many, but like all of his favorite country records, and it's Rejected by Nashville is the name of the book. Elvis just reminded me. Escape from Cookie Land. Yeah, we got to Escape from Cookie Land. But point is, you can still get all these. They're just all still in print. Top 365 country albums. And yes, Dean of Sod's Job Jumper is a classic. And Hostile City or Bust. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are on here, because as you tell, I'm always unprepared, because I get home right before I got to be on. At least I had these records with me. But hell, Rancid Vat and ANTiSEEN did 3 split singles together. What do you think of that? But I sure enough did love the Whiskey Rebel, and I sure miss him. And I don't know, I find myself from time to time going, Phil Irwin would know that. But I don't know, man. The world lost a great individual when he left. And like I've said a couple times already, he was one of my best friends in the world. And if there's any part of this history with us that you're not hearing about, that you want to hear about, man, y'all private message me, direct message me, whatever you kids call it now, DM, PM, AM, FM, I don't know. But write me a letter about being in a rock and roll band. Just write me. Matter of fact, Mark Deal is the one that says, hey, man, what about some stories about you and the Whiskey Rebel? What about the time he played guitar with ANTiSEEN? Man, I'm having a hard time remembering that. Was that live? Mark, you got to get with me, and we got to discuss that. Because, I don't know, man, you're talking, when you're talking about almost 40 years of stuff happening, sometimes you forget a lot of that. And then someone doing a solo and kicking drinks off the bar, man. That sounds like the Alcoholics Unanimous show to me. I don't know, man. We may have done something like that at a COS Super Show. Yep. Andy Miller says he joined on stage at one of the COS shows. Well, we'll talk more about this. But yeah, write me. Let me know. I know I'm just kind of rambling and blah, blah, blah right now, but, trying to stumble to the end of this. But I hope you enjoyed hearing a little bit of these tales. I would really love to know if that show he and I did together was ever recorded or videotaped or anything, because I've after it happened, that was the last we ever heard about it. Maybe I talked to my boys in the Before I Hang camp and see if I can't track that down. But hell, thanks for coming. Thanks for sitting under the table a little bit. And I reckon we'll see you next Tuesday here on Break On Through. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you soon.